Hello students, welcome to today's session of chemistry. As you all know, we have started studying fifth lesson of your syllabus, that is electrochemistry. Before starting today's session, let us just revise what we learned in the previous session. In the previous session, we started a study of electrochemical cells. What are electrochemical cells and how they are constructed? What type of reactions are taking place in those cells? So, let us just revise. An electrochemical cell consists of two metal plates or carbon, that means graphite rods, are dipped in an electrolytic or ionic conductor. The chemical reactions occurring in electrochemical cell are called electrochemical reactions, and they involve transfer of electrons from one species to another. In short, we call them redox reactions. So, there are two different reactions, that is oxidation half reaction and reduction half reactions are taking place, and the sum of these two types of reactions are overall cell reactions. The electrodes which are dipped in the electrolytic solutions are of two types. The one is cathode and other is anode. Cathode, where there is a reduction. So I have told you, you have to just remember this thing. It is very basic thing. That means at cathode there is always the reduction, and reduction is gaining of electrons. At anode there is always oxidation, and that means loss of electron or removal of electrons. So at anode electrons are removed which are accepted at cathode or gained at cathode, and it gets reduced. Then a process is complete. So, electrochemical reactions are just transfer of electrons. Now, we also learn about the types of electrochemical cells. There are two types basically. One is electrolytic cell and another is galvanic or voltaic cell. Both are exactly opposite to each other. And the last time assignment I have given to you, you have to collect all the differences or you have to distinguish between these two types of cells. Now, what is electrolytic cell? In this type of cell, a non-spontaneous reaction, we call it electrolysis, is forced to occur by passing electricity. That means in such type of cells, electrical energy is converted into chemical energy, and the anode in electrolytic cell is positive while cathode is negative. And in galvanic or voltaic cell, exactly opposite is the case. That means a spontaneous chemical reaction that takes place. What is spontaneous means? The one which takes place on its own. And it produces electricity. That means in this type of cell, that is in galvanic cell, chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. And in galvanic cell, anode is negative and cathode is positive. So, I have asked you to collect all the differences. So, these are the two types of cells. So, let us start with the first type, that is electrolytic cell. I have introduced you with this type of cell also. The introduction is over. So, what is electrolytic cell? It consists of a container in which an electrolyte is placed. Do you remember what is electrolyte? It is the solution of electrolyte. Only three examples you have to remember. That means strong acid or acid, base and salt. These three are electrolytes. Any of it can be taken as an electrolyte. So, in electrolytic cell, two electrodes are dipped or immersed in a solution of electrolyte. Now, today we are going to study electrolysis of molten NaCl. NaCl is an electrolyte because it is a salt. So salt is always an electrolyte. The one which undergoes dissociation, the one which undergoes ionization is electrolyte. So NaCl, when you add in water or in liquid state, it will get ionized into Na plus and Cl minus ions. So we are going to carry out electrolysis of molten NaCl. So in today's session, we are going to learn about the detailed procedure of electrolysis of molten NaCl. One more type you have to study, and that is electrolysis of aqueous NaCl also. So we will learn that later. Today we are going to learn about electrolysis of molten NaCl. Molten, that is fused. That is, NaCl is melted and it gets converted to liquid state. And when it is in liquid state, it can work as an electrolyte because it will get dissociated into ions such as Na plus and Cl minus, and which can move from one place to another. So in liquid medium or in fused state, movement is possible. And for that, we always require the electrolyte in liquid state. So we will study the construction of cell for this process of electrolysis. For that, again, as I told you earlier, a container is taken. The electrolytic cell consists of a container in which fused or molten NaCl is placed. Now, two graphite electrodes are immersed in it, that means dipped in it, and these two electrodes, they are connected by metallic wires to a source of direct current, that means battery. Because it is electrolysis, that means here non-spontaneous reaction takes place. Non-spontaneous reaction requires kind of energy, any kind of energy. Here, as it is, the name is electrolysis. Lysis is breaking. So we are going to break molten NaCl by using electricity. So for that, these two electrodes are connected to a battery. Now we will see just the figure that will explain in a better way. So this is electrolytic cell. This is the container in which this is fused NaCl is taken, and two electrodes are dipped inside that vessel. Simple arrangement. But these two electrodes, they are connected to battery. And this battery, the positive terminal of it is connected to that rod which we call anode, because oxidation is going to take place here. And the negative terminal of the battery is connected to another electrode, and that is cathode, because reduction is going to take place here. So positive carbon anode, negative carbon cathode is dipped or immersed in the solution of fused NaCl. This is basic construction. And as I told you, carbon electrode is connected to positive terminal called anode, and the one which is connected to negative terminal is called cathode. So this is all about construction. Now actually the working, or we can say the reactions occurring in the cell, we will see one by one. The first thing is at anode and then at cathode. Basically what happens? Fused NaCl contains Na plus and Cl minus ions which are freely mobile. That means as we have taken NaCl in the fused condition, it will contain Na plus and Cl minus ions. And as they are ions and the medium is liquid, they can move from one place to another, and that means they are freely mobile. Mobile means they can move. It is mobile condition. Now, when potential is applied, what does it mean? That means when electricity starts, the cathode will get negative charge, anode will get positive charge, and as cathode is negatively charged, it will attract positively charged Na plus ions naturally. And the exactly opposite, anode will attract Cl minus ions because anode is positively charged. This immediately starts when we apply potential. That means when we start battery. Now, as these are charged particles, Na plus and Cl minus, their migration results in an electric current. Movement of charged particles is we call electric current. And when these ions reach the respective electrodes, they are discharged according to the following reactions. We are going to see the reaction. We will just understand what is meant by this. When these ions, that means when Na plus reaches at cathode and Cl minus reaches at anode, they get discharged. This removal charge, that means plus charge of Na plus is removed, it will get converted to Na, and minus charge of chlorine will be removed and it will get converted into Cl atom. Neutral Na atom, neutral Cl atom. Hence, it is called they are discharged at the respective electrode. So, let us see the actual discharge or the actual reaction, how the charge is removed. So, first we will see oxidation half reaction that is occurring at anode. At anode, which ions are there? Chlorine ions, Cl minus ions. They are migrated to anode. Each Cl minus ion that reaches anode gives one electron to anode. Why one electron? Because Cl minus, when we say there is only one electron, that is one minus charge, that means one electron is there. If that electron is removed, when Cl minus, when you say there is one electron extra is there, minus, that means chlorine has accepted one electron, minus charge means, and that electron, if it donates back that electron, gives back that electron, what will happen? Cl minus will get converted to chlorine. So at anode, each Cl minus ion gives one electron, and as electron is removed, as electron is lost, the process is oxidation. Understood? So, that means Cl minus oxidizes to neutral chlorine atom, and this is primary process. Now, only chlorine atom cannot survive. When two chlorine atoms are formed, they combine together to form Cl2 gas, like this. Two chlorine atoms then combine to form chlorine gas, and that is secondary process. And primary and secondary together became overall oxidation process. So the actual reactions taking place are like this. 2 Cl minus, we will directly take 2 chlorine minus, will get converted to 2 chlorine neutral chlorine atoms by removal of these 2 electrons from the each chlorine, and this will be the primary process. In the secondary process, what happens? These two chlorine atoms will combine with each other to form chlorine gas. This is secondary process. If we add both the reactions, then we will get overall oxidation. What will happen now? These two chlorine minus ions, Cl will be cancelled. So what will remain to the right side? Chlorine gas with 2 electrons, and this is overall oxidation process. Understood? This all happens at anode. When the electricity starts, Na plus and Cl minus will migrate to their respective electrodes. Cl minus ions negatively charged, it will come to anode which is positively charged. At anode, the electrons Cl minus will be converted into Cl by removal of electrons. As electrons are removed, it is oxidation. And when two chlorine atoms are formed, they come together to form chlorine gas. And this is total process occurring at anode. Now, what will happen at cathode? The battery now, these electrons which are accumulated, collected at anode, these electrons are transferred to cathode by battery. That means the battery sucks electrons so produced at anode and pushes them to cathode, carries them to cathode through a wire in an external circuit. And the battery thus serves as an electron pump. That means it sucks those electrons from anode and provides it to cathode or transfers it to cathode like a pump. It is electron pump, we can say. The electrons from the battery enter into the solution through cathode. Now, through external circuit, these electrons are arrived at cathode and they enter the solution. Already, what is the situation at cathode? At cathode, because it is negatively charged, Na plus ions are gathered around cathode. Now, these Na plus ions will gain electrons, those come from anode. And hence, as the electrons are gained by those Na plus ions, we can say it is a reduction, and by gaining those electrons, Na plus will convert into Na. Like this. The reaction actually will be like this. The electrons supplied by the battery are used in cathodic reduction. Each Na plus ion that reaches cathode that accepts the electron from the cathode and gets reduced to metallic sodium like this. The reaction is like this. That is Na plus charge. What it indicates? That means Na already is a donor. It has donated one electron, hence it got one positive charge. So, if that donated electrons is accepted by Na plus ion, what will happen? That given electron, when it comes back to sodium, when it gains that electrons, it will naturally convert into neutral sodium. That means Na plus electron will form Na. This is the process occurring at cathode. This is the only process occurring because we get naturally Na. At anode, we got Cl2 with 2 electrons, and these 2 electrons through battery came to cathode, where Na plus accept those electrons and will get converted to Na. Now, what will be the total reaction occurring in that electrolytic cell? That is called as net cell reaction. And what is net cell reaction? It is the sum of oxidation half reaction and reduction half reaction. So, what is oxidation half reaction? Is this 2Cl minus will be converted into Cl2 plus 2 electrons. This is oxidation half reaction, and twice Na plus 2 electrons gets converted to twice Na. Neutral, it is reduction at cathode, and overall reaction is the sum of these two reactions. That means 2 electrons from left side and 2 electrons from right side are cancelled, and totally it will become twice Na plus twice Cl minus gives 2 Na plus Cl2. 2 Na, that means neutral sodium plus neutral chlorine. So this is the total result of electrolysis of molten NaCl. Let us just collect those points. What is the result of electrolysis of molten NaCl? We got chlorine gas formed at anode, that means a pale green chlorine gas is released at anode, and a molten silvery white sodium is formed at cathode. So, we have taken fused NaCl in that electrolytic cell, and when electricity starts, the decomposition of NaCl takes place, and a non-spontaneous chemical reaction occurs by using electricity, and this decomposition of NaCl into metallic sodium decomposition, that is separation into metallic sodium and a chlorine gas, is a non-spontaneous process, and the electrical energy supplied by the battery forces that reaction to occur. So this is all about in today's session. Now, what will be the assignment? Assignment will be the same. Explain electrolysis of molten NaCl. Many a time this question has been asked in board exams for 3 marks. So, just open the textbook. You will get the answer there. Write down in stepwise manner by drawing figure and writing the reactions. Thank you.